Hello everyone, the Green Scorpion here, and let me just say that I'm quite an animal lover. This earth is filled with fascinating creatures, and it's hard not to be amazed. I myself am a dog owner, and my favorite animal is a scorpion, as many of you probably deduced by now. That being said, it's not a mystery at all that the video game industry has taken an interest in animals as well, which sparked many memorable games throughout the years. So now, I'm going to count down the top 10 greatest animals from video games. As usual, only games I've played, and only one per franchise. As for the animals themselves, they can be anthropomorphic or otherwise, no half-breeds or shifters, and the animals have to be ones that you could find on the planet Earth. So no dragons or unicorns or anything of the sort. Alright, let's get started. What better way to kick off an animal list than with an animal game? Animal Crossing was a unique addition to Nintendo's arsenal, and it actually managed to reel in some hardcore gamers with its charming theme, myself included. This game, as one would expect, has many memorable animal characters, from Blathers the talkative curator to the greedy bell-swindling Tom Nook. However, in my opinion, the number 10 spot goes to Tota KK, better known as KK Slider. Tota KK is a traveling musical dog who appears in the game only on Saturday evenings, ready to play any request that you may have, and also gives you a CD for your house. What makes this character great is his personality, his musical talent, as well as some hidden qualities that require further insight. Tota KK's personality is portrayed as a stereotypically laid-back street performer, which is seen in his calm speech pattern and the soothing sounds of his voice and guitar. Speaking of which, his musical repertoire is based on the many musical genres like jazz, rock, and even salsa. I actually found myself visiting him every week just so I could hear a new style every time. He even has a signature song called the KK Song, which is actually Totaka's song, a brief musical tune composed by Kazumi Totaka that is hidden in many of Nintendo's games such as Link's Awakening and Luigi's Mansion, just to name a couple. With all that going for him, I believe it's safe to say that this is one smooth dog. Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day is a greedy, materialistic, drunken bastard of a squirrel whose adventures spawn from him having one too many. That alone makes his character incredibly entertaining, especially considering that the game he starred in was designed like another kid-friendly platformer like Donkey Kong 64. But seriously, Conker, despite first impressions, is a much more developed character than many gamers think. While Conker isn't afraid to throw a crude joke or a petty insult, he does follow the philosophy that there is a time and place for everything. Whenever he meets a new character, his approach is very positive and friendly as opposed to the vulgar wise guy many people see him as. Also, Conker's look just makes you want to pet him on the head. The fact that he takes control of his behavior depending on the situation makes him a much more three-dimensional character. Also, many are aware that Conker's Bad Fur Day makes a lot of allusions to various media, and Conker himself is responsible for some of them. In fact, at the beginning of the game, he immediately makes a reference to the Clockwork Orange. Genius! The only reason he's lower on the list is that he only starred in one game besides Diddy Kong Racing, and it would have been nice to see more from him instead of a crappy remake that censors the bits that made the game great in the first place. Either way, Conker certainly left his mark on the gaming industry, and makes my list as number 9.
Yep, fantastic. Let's go and get some shut-eye. Finally.
What do you get when you combine Indiana Jones and Buzz Lightyear and turn him into a creepy crawly? Earthworm Jim. An earthworm is a very interesting choice for a video game character. I mean, it's a worm. What can you do with it? However, Shiny Entertainment saw potential in this creature, and I have to say, they did a good job with it. Earthworm Jim, equipped with a high-tech spacesuit, allows him to perform actions much like a normal human, such as running, jumping, and shooting a blaster. Along with that, he can whip, swing, cling, hover, and float, all by using his head. There isn't much to say about his personality except that he feels like a 1990s cliche, which makes for some groom-worthy yet funny catchphrases throughout the game. Earthworm Jim even had a spin-off television series that lasted for 2 whole seasons, and for its time, it was actually pretty decent. Definitely a whole lot better than...
Chris!
Well, let's not get into that. Earthworm Jim shows that potential can be found even in the dirt, and now takes the number 8 spot on my list. Anything you want to say, Jim?
Groovy!
I thought so. The Pokemon franchise is practically overflowing with animal-based creatures. So which one takes the number 7 spot? Who else than the mascot of Pokemon himself, Pikachu? Pikachu was present ever since the first generation of Pokemon and is arguably the most recognized of any other Pokemon to date. He is so popular that he made the most appearances on the many game covers out there, and he even had a couple of games dedicated solely to him, some better than others. Also, his appearance, I can safely say, is just as cute as Conker's, albeit more innocent. As a Pokemon, Pikachu can hold his own in battle. He has a base stat total of 300, which is a pretty decent number to start with, and he only has one weakness and can resist 3 other types. I think Red from Heart Gold and Soul Silver can demonstrate the extent of Pikachu's power. The first time I fought him, his Pikachu alone beat my team senseless. While Pikachu may not be the greatest Pokemon ever, he certainly shines as Pokemon's mascot, as well as taking the number 7 spot on my list. Fox McCloud from the Star Fox series truly demonstrate how to conquer the skies and the outskirts of space. An experienced R-Wing pilot, he's the commander of the Star Fox team, a small mercenary group dedicated to keeping the Lilat system safe. First of all, Fox's appearance is pretty darn cool. Equipped with special space gear and a blaster, Fox is a force to be reckoned with in the skies, on the ground, and even underwater, and he definitely looks the part. Fox's personality is also interesting. While he does act cocky around his teammates to the point where he's a bit of a show-off, he's also very professional when he needs to be and sometimes shows a little shyness within him. His relationship with his teammates can also be very entertaining, especially his rivalry with Falco. The only thing that hurts Fox is that he hasn't had a trailblazer of a game as of late. Don't get me wrong, Star Fox Assault was great in my opinion, but it still doesn't hold up to the standards set by the classic Star Fox 64, and re-releases just don't cut it. That being said, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what Nintendo has planned for Fox McCloud in the future. Mario has been through a lot of adventures, but I'd be lying if I said that he did it all on his own. In some games, he has received help from many other characters, including Princess Peach herself, his brother Luigi, and his prehistoric best friend, Yoshi. Now, some of you may be thinking that Yoshi doesn't exactly qualify as an animal for this list. Well, he's a dinosaur, and dinosaurs once roamed the Earth, so he counts. Yoshi made his first appearance in Super Mario World, but later made a true name for himself in Yoshi's Island, where it is revealed that Yoshi played a huge role in starting Mario's heroic career. Since then, Yoshi has become a favorite among gamers and is a selectable character in many games such as Mario Kart, Mario Party, and Super Smash Bros. Yoshi's personality is fun, what with the cheery gestures and friendly nature, but what really makes Yoshi great is his loyalty. No matter what, he's always willing to help the Mario Brothers despite the occasional betrayal that he has to deal with. Forgive me, Yoshi, but I have a princess to save. Number 4 is actually a tie. Not because I like these two equally, but because you can't really separate them. Banjo and Kazooie. These two characters were the stars of one of the best platformers on the N64, and as characters, they definitely made a great impression. Banjo and Kazooie's appearance is classic, and their abilities are pretty awesome, but what really sells these characters is their personality and how they interact. What I mean by that is that Banjo and Kazooie's personalities are so different that, as a result, they actually sync very well. Banjo's personality is basically the upstanding gentleman who is noble, hospitable, and always happy to help, albeit he's a little slow. Kazooie, on the other hand, is a smart aleck, and she is constantly making smart remarks and insults at anything and everyone. She even insults Bottles in Banjo Tooie after he just got killed. As a result, seeing Banjo and Kazooie's personalities clash is just hilarious, and yet it fleshes out their characters very well and really brings out the best in both of them, making them one of the best dynamic duos in gaming history. Amaterasu from Okami is a perfect example that an animal character doesn't need to be anthropomorphic to be good. Amaterasu is a wolf who is revealed in the game as the sun god, based on the Japanese legend. First of all, I can safely say that Amaterasu's appearance is among the most beautiful I've ever seen in terms of character design. The paint-like design and the ambience from her white fur are truly breathtaking. As for her personality, it's nothing too special, but it's a bit of a hybrid. She demonstrates both the cunning and loyal nature of a wolf, yet the friendly and playful nature of a common household canine. Also, Amaterasu is a force to be reckoned with. Her skill in combat is formidable, and the brush techniques she can perform are awe-inspiring. Speaking of which, the idea that Amaterasu performs spells and techniques by painting is a very unique concept, and despite some kinks, I really enjoyed performing them, especially on the Wii's motion controls. Amaterasu is a unique character in terms of video games, and more than deserving of the number 3 spot on my list. Numbers 1 and 2 I had a seriously hard time with, but after some research and thinking, I've made a decision. Number 2 on this list is Sonic the Hedgehog. If I may reminisce a little here, Sonic was practically my childhood, and the Genesis games were actually among the very first games I ever owned. Debuting in 1991, Sonic made his first appearance on the Sega Genesis with some very smooth and streamlined 2D platforming in an attempt to compete against Nintendo's shooting star Mario. Sonic's look matches his personality, which basically shows him as a confident, upstanding hero with a thirst for adventure and danger. As many gamers know, Sonic's trademark is his speed, which also makes for some very exciting gameplay in both his 2D and 3D entries with zooming environments and stylized violence. Also, like Earthworm Jim, he has had a few television spin-offs, though only one was actually good. Sonic has been in the gaming industry for 2 decades and shows no signs of slowing down. However, the main reason he isn't number 1 is because his leap to 3D has been seriously rocky. However, with the positive reception of Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations, it looks like the blue blur will be making a comeback in the eyes of gamers very soon. Okay, before we get to the number 1 best animal in video games, let's recap. Number 10, Totakeke. Number 9, Conker. Number 8, Earthworm Jim. Number 7, Pikachu. Number 6, Fox McCloud. Number 5, Yoshi. Number 4, Banjo and Kazooie. Number 3, Amaterasu, and number 2, Sonic the Hedgehog. Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong actually made his debut in the gaming industry at the same time as Jumpman did back in the 1980s. Since then, he has made quite a name for himself, eventually gaining his own series. The original Donkey Kong is actually later on revealed to be Cranky Kong, the current Donkey Kong's grandfather, but even after 2 generations, Mario and Donkey Kong are still clashing, whether it be sports, combat, or just out of spite. Donkey Kong's appearance is the classic ape look, but for some reason, the one quality about his appearance that makes gamers smile, myself included, is the fact that he wears a tie. Why does he wear a tie? I don't know, but it's just awesome. Donkey Kong is also someone you do not want to mess with. His strength is legendary in the gaming industry, and his surprising agility is nothing to laugh at either. Also, unlike the common ape, Donkey Kong isn't a berserker. He's actually quite a thinker when it comes to fighting his opponents, which is demonstrated at its best during the Kong battles in Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. As for his personality, Donkey Kong is pretty simple-minded on the surface, but further insight reveals that his personality is much more complex than that. The Donkey Kong Country games show that he can be very fierce when someone provokes him. Donkey Kong Jungle Beat and Donkey Kong 64 show that he's much smarter than the average ape. And finally, Super Smash Bros. Brawl shows that he can be caring and noble when it's adamant that he's a bit of a father figure to his nephew Diddy Kong. He's also one of the few characters in the gaming industry that is portrayed as both a protagonist and an antagonist. And finally, the fact that he's a silent protagonist really enhances his characterization. Because he doesn't talk, he expresses himself through his actions, relationships, and gestures, making for a truly memorable and lovable character. Donkey Kong is truly the pinnacle of animal characters in the video game department. His characterization is fleshed out well, he's a formidable combatant, his appearance is charming, and his personality is much deeper than meets the eye. Donkey Kong is by far the greatest animal character in gaming history. I'm the Green Scorpion, thank you for watching.